Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We're speaking with Jeff Softly from Softly Electric, and in particular, we're talking about bonding and grounding, a very important facet of electrical work on a house and anything electrical.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, I recommend to my customers to visually and physically inspect your electrical panel. There's a lot of old systems out there, and people don't realize it, but
they shouldn't open it up, though.
They shouldn't.
Open it.
Have a professional do it. Right.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that houses vibrate, and things loosen up over time. And when electricians or maybe not a qualified person installs an electrical panel, they might not be tightening things down tight enough. They just might tighten it down, and what happens over time, things will come loose.
We had that problem. You went back to my customer when we did that bathroom, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Where the neutral was loose in the panel, and some guy had put this panel in.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't you. Yeah.
She wanted me to do the bathroom. She had her own electrician. He did this panel, and so I had nothing to do with the
It was just a loose connection.
But she said my outlets weren't working next to her bathroom. I go, well, I'll send an electrician out.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was a loose neutral in the panel. The guy just didn't torque it down enough.
Just dropped out the neutral, exactly. Yeah, but the grounds would drop out
But that's
too.
dangerous.
It's dangerous, exactly.
Because if you drop the neutral and you happen to get near the you could have 220 going if you
have backfeed from something else, yeah, absolutely.
And it can also, guess what it does to your television sets occasionally.
Well, it doesn't work for one thing.
No, but I've heard that you actually can burn out your.
Low voltage or high voltage will, burn out electric devices. So you want to have that range of between 100 and 115 is even a little bit low. You want to be 117 minimum, 122 volts. That's kind of the range you want to be in.
I actually carry one of those testers with me so I can check those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I recommend my customers, if it's an older house, just have somebody come over and look at your panel. Look and see if everything's tight in there. Your neutral wires, your hot wires, your ground wires, and just make sure it's a safe system.
Don't put your own screwdriver in there, homeowners.
No.
Keep your screwdrivers out of the panel. That's for the professional.
Right.
But all of your breakers, they need to be tightened down. All of the bus bars, the bars that hold the neutral and ground bonding wires all need to be tight.
Absolutely.
And then there needs to be one big wire that goes from the panel, neutral bus or bonding bus, down to the ground.
To the ground.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. That wire is usually a number 8 bare
8 minimum, yeah.
Bare copper wire, and it cannot have any splices in it. And It goes straight to the grounding rod, and then from there it goes all the way back to your hot water heaters, hot, cold, and gas. And then you're safe.
Sometimes they want 2 ground rods driven, because our soil out here is in different areas are acidic, and so the resistance on one ground rod might not be enough to meet what it needs to be.
So who knows that? That's just the building inspector would ID by soil, or it would have been in engineering.
But LA County's just straight across adopted 2 ground rods driven. They just they throw it out 1 ground rod, just 2 ground rods is what you want driven. Just to be that now you're rest assured that your resistance is going to be correct. Exactly.
But there should be no splices in that wire.
No.
It should be continuous.
Continuous, right.
Okay. So number 1 is your panel. Then number 2 is your water heater. Mm-hmm. And then number 3 is your switches and outlets all need to be grounded. So inside, all the wires that go in your house, there's 3 wires, right? There's a hot, there's a neutral, and there's a ground. All 3 of those wires need to be connected. The hot goes on one side, and the white neutral goes on the other, and the green or bare goes to the box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And all those connections need to be really tight, secure connections. I mean, you just don't want to have loose connections. Loose connections can create a lot of problems. Like I get calls from people, I got blinking lights. It's like, well, blinking lights usually to me is a loose connection.
No, that could be the neutral or the hot. Though.
It could be either one.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I also inspect the breakers themselves, because what happens I've seen over years is you get a lot of excessive load on one particular breaker or two particular breakers, and what happens is if that load is 90%, and it's very consistent,
The heat.
the heat deteriorates the breaker. It also starts to deteriorate the busing. You'll start to get, once it deteriorates, then you start to get arcing across the bus between the breaker. And one of the first things you'll see on a lighting circuit would be blinking lights. And this 99% of the time, it's a breaker that's just overloaded, has come loose, and now you have arcing going across, and you've destroyed the bus bar as well as the breaker. So inspections I think are something that's everybody should do, especially on an older home.
Okay, but when Jeff is telling you that everybody should do, he's really saying call Softly Electric or call another
Right.
licensed electrical company to do this. Don't do it yourself. The only thing you might want to do is be cognizant of the fact that you got blinking lights, and that's indicative of a problem. So don't just accept that.
Exactly.
Call a professional electrician. You don't want to mess with that. It's just you can kill yourself. So don't mess with it. All right.
Or you can get it.
Anything else? Now there's two new things that we spoke about before, and we got to be quick on this one. But the GFIs and the arc faults that are required now, they have to have their own designated bond, correct? And
Absolutely.
all the way back to the panel.
All the way, and a neutral. They can't be sharing a neutral wire with another arc fault circuit.
Because it'll trip.
It'll trip right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are your mini breakers that are either in the panel or, like in some cases for kitchens, bathrooms, garages, and outside, those are your GFIs. And they protect you. They trip really fast, so you won't get hurt. Okay. Thanks again. This is Randall Winter with Randall Winter Construction, Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS.